Well, good morning, good afternoon, DCL podcast fans. Is it afternoon yet, Christy? I don't even know.
Almost.
Almost afternoon for those of you on the East Coast. And if you're watching from England, then it's definitely into the afternoon, maybe into the evening, I guess. Probably into the afternoon. I should know my time zones a little bit better.
And if you're watching in England, please comment because I would love to know that. And I didn't realize we were recording live, so here we are. Like, I knew you weren't editing it, but I also didn't make myself so camera ready, but whatever, details.
Well, welcome. There's so much news about Disney Cruise Line, isn't there, out there right now with all the stuff, the 25th anniversary, some of the gifts that they're showing on board, the lanyards. Are you a fan of the lanyards, Christy?
I mean, first of all, I'm never a fan of the lanyard. I mean, right? Like, I'm happy that they exist for people, but we are not a lanyard people. My son will lose his little tiny collective mind when he sees that lanyard, and we are going to let him wear it for the first time, like his key card on our next cruise, because he's going to have a little bit more independence now. And he needs to be able to get into a cabin and check himself into kids clubs and all those things. So he will have his key card for the first time, and he will love the giant Mickey head.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure I'm into the Mickey head, but that's okay. We'll see what happens.
I mean, it seems really big. Yeah. We'll see. We don't know. In our Patreon group, one of our Patreons did like was it Flava Flav or right?
Yeah.
Or it was some rapper, right? With his like big necklace and like, yeah, that's what I think of when I see that. It seems like a lot. But we're going to do a new show, so stay tuned because our new show is next week, I believe.
Yeah, right? We'll come back with our Cabana show next week, and we'll talk about like all the latest news that's kind of come out and everything else. So enjoy all the stuff that's coming out, I guess, around the 25th. Those sailings have already started. So we are going to turn our focus to another product that we love, and you have actually got your first adventure coming up. We are going to talk about the 2024 land release by Adventures by Disney. And Christy, you've got your first ABD coming up this winter, right?
I do. So I have booked several, and there was just various situations with pandemic and then things related to that. So the first one was like a trip was getting moved. So we changed our ABD to something else. And then the pandemic happened. And so, all the plans just blew up. But yes, we are going this Christmas. And I do know that our cruise, we're doing a river cruise, and it is actually sold out. So it is on waitlist only. I don't even know if they're even adding people to the waitlist at this point, but I am super excited. We are doing a Christmas markets / some of it won't really be Christmas markets because I think it ends at Christmas and our cruise goes over Christmas. But we are doing a cruise over Christmas on the Rhine with my family and just cannot wait.
I'm pretty sure the markets run through New Year's. It's not like Disney where they take it down overnight. It's like the 25th. The next day it's just done. It's gone. We're out of here. Derry says, I gotta throw this out there. Derry is still waiting for Sven to get his due. He'd be perfect on the lanyard. I totally agree with you. I love Sven as poor Sven. He never gets quite the due that he gets. We always have to look at Olaf, but anyways, I digress on that.
See?
Well, there we go.
Derry just made another comment. And that's the thing is so Derry's comment was most markets end on Christmas Eve over there. And I had read that somewhere. So I haven't done a ton of my research yet for my trip because I've got some other stuff coming on before then. And so
pretty excited about that.
I will be doing research. You guys will get tons of content because I just really think that something new is fun and exciting, and I'm going to want to talk about it. So everybody's going to have to listen.
I agree. Our family's finally, after same kind of things, we had several different things booked. We are going to Costa Rica next year for Christmas spring break, and finally got that pushed back, which we're super excited about that. I cannot wait to go to Costa Rica.
But so you're like going all into ABD because you're going to do another ABD too.
Yeah, talking to Chris down in California, Chris in the concierge, if you know him, he's done several ABD escapes, which are just the short adventures that you can kind of book in either before or after adventures, or it works really well with cruises as well. So while all the rest of you guys are floating the Lighthouse Point, we're going to go to Europe instead. And we've added our cruise to Norway leaves out of Southampton. So we added a 3-day escape to London that we're going to do ahead of that. So super excited to do that one as well. So that's kind of what we've got planned for Adventures by Disney right now.
That is so cool. You get to see the crown jewels. If I like, and do they still care about the crown jewels when it's a king instead of a queen? I don't know, but you better get to see crown jewels because I want to know all about that. I actually had that adventure booked at some point. I'm so excited for you and cannot wait for the trip report when you come back.
Yeah, and just for we'll talk about this in a second, but holy cow, like all of the short escapes are sold out through August. And they kind of Christy will talk about this, but they kind of put these short escapes out sometimes. They don't really make a big fanfare about it. And
they don't even announce it. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and they're all booked up. Luckily, the one that we wanted isn't. But I'm like, what is going on in England next year? Maybe somebody that's listening will kind of clue me in next August why it's so busy. But let's talk about it.
But it's because it's the cruises. So Disney always puts short escapes around a cruise schedule. So even, for example, the Disneyland short escape, which I think is like an easy one, it's almost like the starter ABD that a lot of people might do, where they either do the whole week-long excursion or a trip in Southern California, Disneyland, or they'll do the short escape. They only make the short escapes available when there's a ship cruising out of Southern California. So I just find that to be interesting in and of itself. So, but that's the reason that those England ones are selling out, because it gives you an opportunity to see everything, like all the highlights. You are literally going to go on all of the highlights. And honestly, that price hasn't changed. I booked that trip that you're going on like 3 years ago, and the price is the exact same, I think. So it is not inexpensive. It is a luxury product. It is, remember, Adventures by Disney is Disney's guided travel. Are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, before you jump into it. So then let's talk about, as you said, we're all kind of used to Disney cruises and how expensive they are. And when you get Adventures by Disney, I think a lot of people have some sticker shock when they see that. But like to your point, it is a luxury product. So for those who do not know about Adventures by Disney, and I think most of us do that listen to our podcast, but if you don't, what is Adventures by Disney, Christy?
It is Disney's answer to guided tours. So you have probably in passing heard of people like going to Europe and getting on a bus and spending all their time going from place to place in a bus. That's called the guided tour. This is Disney's answer to that. They limit the number of people. They have 2 adventure guides that are always with you for the duration of your trip. They'll have more if it's a river cruise. And then they'll bring on local guides, and they'll do cool things like front of line passes to certain tours. In Italy and Rome, they actually get you on the floor to be a gladiator. Like my husband really wants to do that one time. And so they're not inexpensive, but they're taking you to all of the places that you want to see. And then the one thing that's really unique with Disney is they also take you to the place that you never even thought that you wanted to see. Like I think of our listener that went to Australia that went to like the sheep farm. She was like, I would never in my life have picked the sheep farm. I would never have said, this is something we need to do. And that was a highlight of their trip. And it's stuff like that that always makes me think like, this is the Disney difference. And this is why they're better. So another listener said they were in Venice and they saw someone schlepping the luggage across like to get to their tour. But with Adventures by Disney, their luggage gets picked up outside the rooms. They get taken to the next location. Like Disney takes care of those details for you where you're not dragging it from place to place. They really think of everything. When you get back on the bus, they have snacks, they have water, like they have the things. So they're giving you a premium product for the premium price.
And is Mickey traveling with you, Christy?
Mickey is not traveling with you.
So,
So the only like Disney element you'll get is they typically give out little like a gift, which has typically been a pin, and that pin may have a Disney character on it.
and they do kind of junior adventure nights sometimes. Well, so the adults can have like a good dinner by themselves, and then they'll do like a junior adventure night on the cruises and the land escapes as well. Or maybe they'll show a Disney movie or something like that for the kids. But um, that's probably kind of the limit of it, other than maybe some stories as far as like being someplace where maybe Walt was, where they would incorporate that into the tour.
Yeah, so anytime they're like on the Danube, they go to the castles that there's a castle, and you guys know me with the fine trivia. It's in there but not in there. So they go to a castle that's like something important. Everybody's going to be yelling at me in the Disney community. And they talk about that. And oh, I think it's like a Beauty and the Beast city too, somewhere else. So like they'll do these little nods to Disney when it makes sense. The other thing is on the river cruises, there's no kids club. But they'll take the kids each evening and do like a little kids section where the kids can all eat together. My son is super excited about that. And they will like on some level entertain them. Again, it's not a kids club, but and on the river cruise there's only 150 people. So it's not like, there's a ton of people, but to that end on the guided tours as well, there's a max of 40. You really get to know the people that you're traveling with. So it's a different product. I know that you and I have been in love with this product for years, and it's great, and we're so excited to finally get to be experiencing them.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about the land adventures. We're not going to go over every single one of them. All the 2024 river and expedition cruises are already out and able to be booked. They come out a little bit early. I think, when do they come out? I think it's like
I want to
usually,
say February,
yeah,
April.
yeah. And we're not going to get into
February,
too much
March.
on this either, but there's two different ways to get some discounts. We'll talk about that, but really opening days is when you're going to be able to really get a discount on these. So there may be some limited ones on the river or the expedition cruises still available. It's a case by case basis and trip by trip. The cool thing with Adventures by Disney, though, is you can actually go to every continent now. They offer adventures on every single continent. With the expedition cruises now, they actually go all the way down to Antarctica, which I think is super cool. And with the addition of Egypt, and now we're going to talk about a new one that they added in 2024 for the land escapes. They also have adventures to Africa, which is awesome.
Well, and they've had South Africa, but
Right.
not other locations in Africa. Yeah, I think this needs to be a life goal, right? Now we have to do an adventure in every continent.
I don't know if we're going to quite make that, but there's definitely a
No,
lot of,
I
I mean, I would
know.
love to definitely go on them. Okay. So let's talk about 2024. We'll talk about the booking dates here after we talk about what's new, but they also do retire expeditions as well, unfortunately. And as some of them are popular, excuse me for do this.
We're
For just a
both
second.
coughing at the same time. So, yeah, there were some adventures that actually people are disappointed, but they must not have had a big enough sale so that they were more difficult to fill, or there could be supplier issues. So Disney is also going to make sure that their adventure is going to provide that premium product. So if that means they have to cut it for whatever reason, they do. So, what are the three that got removed for 2024?
Actually, it's four. So
Oh,
they removed Spain, which was a popular one. That one's the one that I heard the most people saying they were disappointed in that because it was a really good tour. They removed New England, which actually Hanawake and I looked at possibly booking that one. Looked like kind of a cool escape. We've been through New England, but they added just some really cool things. But I think New England might be something that a lot of people can do by themselves. You're gonna say something?
well, I was going to say we're just going to have to get Anthony now, friend of
Yeah.
the show, to take us and do a, Adventures by Anthony tour.
There we go. They also retired the Montana and Wyoming. They're still doing Montana and they're doing Wyoming, but there was a combination one, Montana and Wyoming. And they also retired the winter Wyoming one, which was super popular. We looked at that one at one time too, because you get to go to Yellowstone in the winter, which has always been a bucket list for our family. But for some reason, I guess maybe that one just wasn't filling up. or maybe they're going to reimagine it, which they do. So let's talk about what's new in 2024. Are you ready for that, Christy?
I am.
Okay. We're not going to touch on this one, but they have reimagined New Zealand. They've added some different experiences. So if you've done the New Zealand one before, they've added some different experiences there. So you might want to take a look at that. But the 3 that they've added now are Colombia, Morocco, and Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, which I'm super excited about that last one.
Yeah, and Colombia is blowing up. If you are following travel trends at all, the river cruise market has all just sort of shown up in Colombia for next year. And so there is, so Colombia is a big one, which is, and obviously there's also the nod to Encanto, sorry. So yeah, that makes it like the Disney touch, but really Colombia is just blowing up for every river cruise line and every tour company.
So what does Disney say about Colombia? Disney, or Adventures by Disney, says the Colombia trip is a journey into a land of natural and cultural diversity that has been a source of creativity in art, music, dance, and food for centuries. Located in the northwest region of South America, you'll discover stunning landscapes ranging from the higher altitude Andes Mountains region to the Caribbean coastal areas, known for its renowned coffee region, vibrant and colorful cities like Bogota and Cartagena, as well as its diverse cultures. It's no wonder that Colombia provided the inspiration for bringing the magical Madrigal family to the Walt Disney Animation Studios Academy Award-winning Encanto. So this one's an 8-day journey, 17 meals included. You do some travel through the country, so it's kind of similar to Costa Rica, where you're going to start off up in the mountains and you're going to make your way down to the coast with stops in the coffee region as well. So, and they've got a cool stop, which I would love to do. They stop into where the tamarin monkeys are, and Disney's, why can't I say it now? The Animal Kingdom. It's their outreach for animals. The conservation fund, the Disney Conservation Fund, does a lot of work there for the tamarin monkeys, and you get to go and experience that as well, which I think that's cool that they roll that into it.
And do you like, so I was looking at the price, and good morning, Dennis. Thank you for joining us. And so these are people listening on the live feed right now. But, I was looking at the price. This is one of the lower priced adventures for a whole like week-long tour. And so is it that it's lower? Like these prices aren't so high anymore. And is it because everything else, travel is getting so much more expensive? Like, a Disney trip for a family is getting up there in price, and a Disney cruise now is like, right? There's inflation everywhere. There's prices have just gone up. So now Adventures by Disney pricing doesn't seem so high to me.
Well,
for what you get.
It depends about which one you go on. So Costa Rica and Costa Rica and Colombia here tend to be on the lower end of those prices. As a matter of fact, you could go to 8 days in Colombia for the same price, for just a little bit more than it would to go do the Disneyland escape. So give me my choice, I'd rather go to see a different country and experience the culture than go to Disneyland and see the Imagineering. But that's your choice. Nobody gets to make that choice.
I feel like the Disneyland one, and this is why there's so many amazing adventures, because we get to have different experiences, because I want to do that Disneyland one. And I was actually offered an opportunity to do agent training on one, but my husband couldn't come, and I really want to do it with him. And so I turned down that opportunity, because for that particular one, for a whole week, like, he would love it too. And I think if you're a Disney fan, you're getting to see back, like, Imagineering. You get to see stuff that people aren't just able to walk up and see. I don't know. So for me, yes, getting culture in Colombia sounds amazing, but also I love me a good VIP tour of sorts.
I'm taking my coffee in the coffee region of Colombia over going to the coffee down in California and seeing Disneyland. So we all know about the Disney coffee generally. So
yeah.
I digress. Dennis says we are desensitized to Disney prices, so it seems almost reasonable. I totally agree with you on that. Okay, let's turn to the next one. Now, this one's a little bit more expensive because you're going to Africa with Morocco. It's a 10-day excursion there,
and it's 10 days.
Yeah.
So really, if you think of the price for 10 days of them taking you safely from place to place, but go on.
Morocco is rich in history and tradition. Morocco is a true melting pot, which is immediately evident in its food, arts, culture, and the people that call it home, with an emphasis on hospitality and storytelling. Visitors are invited to explore its souks, which are the markets, stunning landscapes, and vibrant cultures, all of which show off the many influences that have shaped Morocco and made it such a welcoming destination. I was going to look up real quick. Any thoughts on Morocco there, Christy?
I just no. I think I always say that. You're like, any thoughts? And then I say no, and then I'll say something. I have to work on that. So this is not a tour that I think most just regular travelers, I don't know what the right word is there, but casual travelers would go and do on their own. And so that's what makes it so amazing through something like Adventures by Disney, because you get to see all these wonderful once in a lifetime places. And if you're taking a family, even a couple, if you're taking a family, it gets to be like the price of a car. So it's not that these are not inexpensive, right? These are very, like, you have to plan them in advance trips, but you're also getting, right, this safe environment to see these really cool places that you otherwise would just not go to.
Exactly. I just actually I can't remember who it was I was talking to. Somebody I work with just went to Morocco. Actually, they went through and they said if they could go back and do it again, they would just go to the mountain region. That's what they enjoyed the most. So another aspect of it is I think from everything that we've heard, and we will find out that ABD does a really good job of finding those places that, as you said, you may not in your mind want to visit or thought you wanted to visit, but they end up becoming the special thoughts as you go there. Couple highlights: you get to visit a Berber museum. The Berbers are the North African, or the kind of tribal people of North Africa. You get to do a sunset camel ride and the dunes hike. You get to do a pottery cooperative visit, bike and hike an oasis, and then do a Fez Medina tour. So all of the information once again on adventuresbydisney.com to find out what you can do there in Morocco. And let's turn to go ahead.
Just really quick too, their website is basically amazing for the information it provides. I mean, if you want to see literally what you're going to do every single day, you can. And so if you are interested in Adventures by Disney, go to their website because it provides so much information.
So the last one we're going to talk about is Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. I know bucket list for us has always been to do a New England cruise or up into that area of Canada and everything like that. And on a cruise, you're going to get to, oh boy, the one cruises that Disney did where they went all the way to Quebec City, they were pretty amazing. Len Test was on and talked about that. But lately, it's been pretty quick stops, I guess. And if you want to be a little bit more immersed into the Canadian maritime provinces, which are stunningly beautiful, this might be in your this might be in your bucket list. So what do they talk about? This is a 8-day tour, and price wise, so
I wouldn't say it's one of their higher prices.
No,
it's not at all.
No, so Colombia was about $4,800 per person for adult starting price. Morocco, you're looking about $8,000, and now for this one, you're looking at about $53.99 starting price for an adult. And obviously, those will go up as they get booked, and then also as time goes along. So, what do they talk about with the Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island? Experience the natural beauty of the Canadian maritime provinces, a stunning coastal stretch sculpted by the marine environments, rivers, bays, and dramatic tides that surround it, made up of Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and New Brunswick. This summer haven is teeming with both wildlife and people who call the region home, which includes, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to say it, but 3 different tribal nations, among others, who arrived at the coastal port seeking new opportunities in the North American shipyards and robust fishing industries. This is quite a tour. You're going all over the place on this one. Some of the highlights that they talk about in this one is experience the Anne of Green Gables Museum experience for you literary buffs. Tall ship Silva sailing. So you're going to actually take a tall ship, which, boy, that would be kind of cool, out into the harbor.
So cool.
In Halifax Harbor. Private storytelling with one of the tribal nations. Sugar Moon Farm visit with fresh tap syrup. Oh, the maple syrup up there is amazing. A lobster boat experience. Christy, you can pull up that lobster and eat it fresh off the boat.
No.
Nope.
No, thank you. But I'm very happy other people can do that.
In a Hopewell Rocks Park guided exploration. There he says, I would love to see the Bay of Fundy when the water is out. Yeah. And she also says, my nephew 17 had an amazing service trip in Morocco last summer. He definitely recommends it. So good words there. So those are kind of the big highlights that they've added, 3 new adventures. And as we talked about earlier, there are adventures pretty much there are adventures on every continent. So wherever you want to go, Japan, China, all through Europe, so many different itineraries in Europe, through North America as well, if you don't want to travel internationally. Anything else, Christy, about this release before we talk about bookings?
Wait, what did I think I coughed through your question.
Anything else about this release before we talk about the bookings and the booking process?
I don't think so.
Okay,
well, then, you know how I always say I don't think so, and then I do. Just one more thing. That Grand Europe tour, that is just the coolest to me sounding. It goes to England, France, and Italy. The first year it started with like 4 options, and then quickly sold out. They actually have, and it's basically the same price as it was originally, and they have now for 2024 like 10, actually more than 10 departures. Like I think it's up to 15. They have a couple of adult only exclusive ones. They do once again have the one over the holidays. So if you wanted to go for Christmas almost up until New Year, it literally does like all the highlights of each of those countries. So it really is a bucket list. You really need to drink your coffee in the morning because you're like going, you know? But it's so amazing. And there are so many opportunities to do it now. One year I will do that tour for sure.
Okay, let's turn to booking and how do you book Adventures by Disney, Christy?
You call your travel agent. You don't have to, but you do have to call Adventures by Disney. So booking is only done through the phone. So either your travel agent can call or you can call. Bookings begin Tuesday morning for those individuals who've had over 3 previous adventures. And then Wednesday, it goes to people that have had any previous ABD adventures. So if you've done one a short escape, you can book on Wednesday. Thursday is going to be a popular date, maybe for our listeners who haven't done ABD yet, but want to. Any Disney Cruise Line Castaway Club member, your any DVC owner, I think in order to get that benefit, I think you have to be a Blue Card member. So that's either people that had booked prior to whatever date in the past. So I don't know what that cutoff date is, but you guys will know if you are, right? Like if you bought direct or if you bought a while ago from somebody else. And then Golden Oak members. Friday it opens for everybody. And that begins all next week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on your level.
And the good thing is you can go on the website right now and look at the prices for what they're offering for the upcoming adventures. And they will also show as far as what discounts are available. They may not be available for that trip by the time you get in and you book, but they will show that now.
Yeah. And, you know, I actually, when I was just looking at one of these prices, I was a little disappointed in Disney because they're listing it with the discount and as that starting price, but they only give away like 2 people's worth per tour of that discount. So at least that's the way it used to be. So it's not like, so they shouldn't use that price. Like maybe you get that discount, but really I would probably plan on it not being that price. But like the regular full price, if you are DVC, regardless of when you book, you get the opening day price, which to me is like a huge perk to DVC.
Yeah. So once again, say that again for if you're DVC because you kind of led into it. But
sorry,
if you're
I got very excited.
No, that's okay. If you're DVC, there is one caveat. Go ahead.
Wait, is it a caveat or is it a perk?
No, well, perk.
I was like, caveat sounds like a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So perk. It is a perk if you are DVC and again, Blue Card member, blah, 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 whatever, official member. You can like, let's say you book it in 2 months from now because it doesn't work out financially for you to do it right now, or the prices go up. You get starting day prices, not starting day with a discount. So if it says like, if you qualify for $500 off, you don't get that price, but you get the beginning price whenever you book. So like our river cruise, we booked a year after river cruises came out and we got to go back in time to opening day river cruise pricing and get that price for our family because we're DVC members, which was a huge savings. So, and you can use a travel agent and get that savings as well. You can use a travel agent and book on the DCL DVC Golden Oak Day, which is Thursday, but your travel agent needs your number. So they either need your member number for DVC or your Castaway Club number for DCL. And it's not even like you have to be premium, or Pearl, right? Or platinum with Castaway Club number. It's like any previous Disney Cruise Line cruise. So I think that's really cool.
So there's one other thing that's a little bit different than Disney Cruise Line, and that's a cancellation policy. Do you want to touch on that real quick?
Yeah. So when you book within 14 days of booking, you have to fill out this adventure agreement. And whatever comes sooner, when you fill out the adventure agreement or within 14 days, your deposit becomes non-refundable. So you really need to make sure that an Adventures by Disney trip is something you're interested in doing, because, the deposits aren't small and they're non-refundable. You can move your adventure one time. And that one time, it's still within a period of time. So like, basically you end up having to book it. It's before final payment that you can move your adventure. And then there's like a rule about it probably has to be an adventure out already, because especially if you book it on opening day, because you have to do it within like 2 years. You have to go on the next adventure. It's either 2 years or 1 year. Look it up. But the point is, it's not as loose as DCL.
Yeah. And a lot of that's because they've got to set up the vendors ahead of time. And these are, like you said, pretty special tours that they're doing. And so that's kind of why they lock you into that price, to make sure that you really want to do that. But I do appreciate the fact that if some life happens or whatever else, you can at least move it once and move it forward. Before we get out of here, I guess one other thing to talk about is with Disney. I'm not sure when they acquired the National Geographic company or how long they've owned National Geographic, but they also partner with National Geographic Tours very similar to Disney Vacation Club. We're not going to get into them today, but I think that we should do an episode about the National Geographic Tours too, because I've heard nothing but good things about them. And they go to some other different places around the world that ABD does not, or they offer different experiences in those places that ABD does not.
Right. And different focuses. Like, I know they have a photographer guide that's on their National Geographic tours that are like, teach you how to take the most amazing picture, stuff like that, for your entire adventure.
Okay. So losing my brain is what happens when you go live. So the booking date's coming up next week. Christy, I know you always, ask why. That's not even the right way. I'm saying this.
Use your own travel agent if you have one.
But if you don't,
to work with them,
and you'd like to use Christy's services, go ahead.
Yes, I would be happy to help you. Adventures by Disney is an amazing product, and I would be happy to help you even pick one for your family or make suggestions based upon what makes sense, and or just help you to get that booked either next week or into the future. So you can reach me at Christy@PackYourPixieDust.com. If you go to my website, PackYourPixieDust.com, it has actually my office phone number on there and my email address. So you can reach me. I'd be happy to help.
There we go. Well, thank you, Dennis, for joining us live this morning. I hope all the best to you guys this morning, and happy adventuring. If you guys are heading out on an adventure or thinking about booking an ABD, I'd love to hear where you're headed or your thoughts about that Adventures by Disney that you and your family are going to take. So definitely reach out to us and let us know what you guys plan to do. So with that, I think we'll get out of here, and we'll see you next week on our Cabanas live show. Right, Christy?
Yes. And if there's anything like you want us to discuss on that live show, now you have an opportunity. Reach out.
There we go. All right. As we get out of here, then, all the best to everybody. If you were heading out on Adventures by Disney, Disney Cruise Line, heading down to the parks, just enjoy your time with family and friends, and we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.